Welcome to I Am Healing Podcast with Isaac George. My intention of this episode of Triggers is to allow people to recognize their triggers and also deal with them. So, what is a trigger? A trigger is an action or a situation that can lead to an adverse emotional reaction. And today I have a special guest, a dear friend of mine, Roxanne Collins. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm
Thank you for
doing.
having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited that you're here. I'm doing awesome. So we're just gonna dive in and just have a conversation about triggers. But first,
Okay.
tell the people where they can follow you on social media.
I am on Facebook. I am Roxanne Collins. On Instagram, I am Dana Roxanne 21.
Okay.
And on TikTok, I am the girl from Nutbush.
Okay, Nutbush. City limits. Okay. So let's just dive it right on into it. I'm so excited to talk about this topic because triggers. I had to learn a good thing and something about triggers.
Yeah.
So, what would you say are your top three triggers?
Oh goodness. They just vary from day to day.
Okay.
If I'm being honest, I I discover a new trigger every day
Mm-hmm.
because different things will trigger you. Because I align triggers with pet peeves.
Okay.
And this is something that just really grinds my gears. It's like, oh, that drives me crazy. There's that kind of trigger, and then there's the kind of deeper triggers where you have where it's an emotional healing that has to happen for you to get on from that trigger. And then, like I said, the other trigger is like just something you can shake off with a good song, or some friends come over, you just shake it off. Those are two different types of triggers.
Okay.
Like I had a trigger, and I didn't know it until I got much older, but I was triggered because I never felt chosen, and so putting myself in positions of people having to choose me is a trigger, and so, with me being an entertainer, like, okay, that's the ultimate truth. Like,
Right.
people are going to choose you
Right.
or not choose you.
Exactly.
So I'm constantly triggered. But what I did with my career was I put it in such a way that I don't have to be chosen because I'm the boss. So
Okay. I
I've
feel
already
that.
chosen- I've already
I
chosen
feel
myself.
that.
I don't need anybody to hire me. I work for myself.
Right.
So that was me protecting myself from that trigger.
Right.
So I think that's my main trigger, and emotionally, that's my deepest only trigger probably. And I still is a work in progress of not being chosen.
Right.
I still work on that one, and that stems from childhood.
Right.
So that's the one I work with. I get triggered in like political. I have political triggers.
Oh, don't we all?
and I have societal triggers. I have all types of triggers, but those are different. But those are the three main ones that I think I deal with.
Okay. Well, one of my biggest triggers is being around a person that has treated me badly and act like I'm not even there. Like, I do not like that, especially if it's just a disagreement or even if our pages or we're not in the same chapter, we're not on the same page, but you just act like I never exist when I invested a lot. Family, friends, whoever, everybody.
Do you feel gaslit by them? Like they're acting like nothing has happened? You're like, I know I'm not crazy. You did such and such.
Exactly,
You feel
exactly.
gaslit in a
Yes.
sense. So I would say that being gaslit is the real trigger.
It's a trigger, yeah, definitely
being gaslit.
Yeah, being
Because
gaslit.
you're not gonna call me crazy.
Right. But I had to learn how to deal with that. And I had to learn how to deal with that in the worst way. Because sometimes when you drink or when you're mad and you angry and then you see them, like, you get that courage to just say, no, you know that you did something wrong. Like,
It
all
all comes back.
Yes, it all comes back. But I would say that is one of like my biggest triggers. Like, that's one of my biggest, and that kind of ties into another one of my triggers is the end of a relationship in any capacity. To whoever I'm dating, family, friends, like when it ends, because like when I invest myself into any type of relationship, I really ride for that person. Like I
Right.
genuinely feel like I'm connected to that person. And
It's like a death.
yeah, it is. And so that really I don't like that. I don't like to see the end, so I always try to fix everything.
I was gonna say,
I try to
do you
fix
find
everything.
yourself prolonging
Yes,
that end
I
so
have
that it doesn't
prolonged
happen?
relationships with people. I have prolonged from family, friends, and whoever. I prolonged a lot because I'm like, I see where that's going, and I know that that's going to affect me, and I don't want it to affect me. And I really ride for that person. I really care about that person.
I fully get that trigger though, because I have that to a degree, but mine is different in that I'm like, okay, I see where this is headed. Bye.
Okay, yeah, you are
I'm out
quick.
first.
You are, you know,
I'm
you
good.
are the one. She
Bye.
is the one that her favorite word is bye.
Yeah,
She
bye.
don't give a person
I'm
2
good.
chances.
Oh, I'm good.
Oh, nothing. I'm good.
I'm
Okay,
good.
bye. I'm good. Yes.
I'm good.
You just-
I'm good. What's wrong with you? I'm good.
I'm good.
You don't come around no more. I'm good.
Yeah.
Why am I going to do that with us? What's the point? Whereas you do, they're like, let me cling as long as
Let
I
me
can.
clean. Yeah, because I don't like seeing the end. Like, especially when you already foresee the end and you try to do everything in your power to change how the end is going to be.
Well, let me help you with that trigger.
Mm-hmm.
What you can start telling yourself is something great has to end so that something beautiful can begin. Start telling yourself that.
That's a word.
And you will let that go. And you
Yeah.
that's why I'm quick. Oh, that means something else going to come. Bye.
Right.
And I'm good to go on to that next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So try to practice that.
Yeah, that is something I'm going to try to practice. I'm getting better at that because I feel like sometimes things have to end.
They do.
I feel like
everything has its season
It has a season. I think about that.
and its purpose.
Unless you live in Houston, because we have all kinds of seasons throughout the year. But you got people
Throughout
like
the
that.
day.
Right? But you got
Houston has-
people like that throughout the day, too. You got
Throughout
one
the
minute you like this,
day.
the next minute you like this. It's like, whoa, okay. I
That
definitely
is
get
the perfect
that.
metaphor for the people in Houston. It's very that.
Yeah. Well, they like another one of this is like my third trigger. And like this trigger is like the fear of having to start all over. Like when you're at rock bottom
Yeah.
and like the fear, because I've been to the point where I had nothing and I was at like the bottom and I have a fear of going back there. So I try to do everything in my power to not go back to a space like that, if that makes sense.
It does, but and that's another trigger that anybody that has dealt with loss has that trigger. But again, I guess because I'm older, I've learned how to empower myself from those types of triggers. Because what I learned from that, because I've been homeless before, I've been at the bottom more than once.
Right.
So my point is, if that happens again, guess what? I survived before, I will survive again. So
yeah.
that can't trigger me now. I have no fear of failure because I have the ultimate failure of sleeping on a sidewalk before. So I've done that before.
Right.
What's going to be worse than that? Nothing. So I'm good. If something happens, I'll survive again.
Right.
So that's why the phoenix is my spirit animal. I always rise out of my ashes.
Yeah, I like that you said that. And I think when I see myself wanting to give up or when I see myself like wanting to quit several different things, it's just like, okay, no, Isaac, you're in this for a reason. Even when I don't see the monetary gain from it, or even when I don't see that people are even paying attention to what I'm saying, or people don't even see me. So it's like, why am I advocating for this, or why am I fighting for this, or why am I doing any of those type of things? And it's just like, okay, Isaac, there's a greater purpose behind what you're doing.
Exactly.
And so I have to remind myself that, because I get in my head a lot. I get in my head like I'm like my worst critic. I discipline myself. And I'm learning to stop doing that. My therapist said, allow yourself to process whatever it is that you're going through.
At your own pace.
At your own pace. So I'm learning to do that.
And what I've learned from stuff like that, from those type of things, like sometimes I'll do something and it'll have no impact on me. And I'm like, well, what did I do that for? But then it'll dawn on me just as quickly as I would ask the question. It'll dawn on me, it wasn't for you. You did that for someone else because the universe had called that for you to do because somebody else needed to receive that. And you doing that wasn't about you getting anything from it, being monetary, spiritually, or anything. It was just about you. Somebody needed to see that.
Right.
And you did that. You're like, that was odd, okay. But somewhere somebody's that probably just saved their life or changed their life because they got a word or a message from something that you thought was going to be bigger for you, and it was nothing for you. That's because it wasn't for you.
Exactly.
So that's how I deal with that too.
Yeah. And the thing about it, I allow myself to know that I am human. You know,
Well,
so
I am.
I am human. Like I really like I am human. I have to really tell myself that because I've been on my own for a long time. So I kind of like beat myself up when it comes to certain things, but I have to allow myself to say, I know you're human. You can make a mistake. You can process whatever emotion that is going on. You can process whatever trigger is going on. Step back, think about it and stuff like that.
I got this from Oprah, and
Okay.
I'm crediting Oprah right now.
Okay, Oprah.
But it's very true. I got the concept from Oprah, but I delved deeper into it to fit my life. And to off of what you said that you are human. I'm going to tell you that I am not human.
Okay.
I am a spirit. I am a soul having a human experience. So therefore, anything that is happening, there's a lesson, there's something I'm supposed to get from that human experience. So in thinking of myself as not as human, but as a soul and as a spirit, anything earthbound and human, that's not attributed to me. That is part of that human experience. And so therefore I don't internalize that because that's flesh. That's a surface flesh feeling. That's not my spirit. So that helps me with that one as well.
That's good. I like that. Okay, Oprah.
I am not human. I am a spirit. I am a soul having a human experience.
So do you have like your human moments where you're like, oh hell no.
I have had those. Yes.
Like,
But
hell
leaning
no.
into that deeper, I don't have those as much because if something good happens, I like, okay. Something bad, okay. Something great, okay. Because it wasn't about me. I didn't make that happen. That wasn't about me. Even if something good happened, if something bad happened, it wasn't about me. That was the human experience. That was because I do believe that our steps are preordained. So that was going to happen. I didn't do that. That was going to happen.
You're very much like that.
And
Now that I think about that.
And
you
it's
are.
up to me to be in tune, have my body, my human experience, and my spirit as one accord so that that path is illuminated and I can follow those steps. And I feel like it's anytime that you get off of that path, because it's still going to happen, it's just you're taking a detour because all roads lead to the same destination.
Right.
And you just might take a little longer to get there, but you're going to be there. So it's like, if I try to stay connected, then that's when things look so easy and like you're manifesting and things are just happening. It's because you're in tune.
Right.
Your body and your spirit have aligned.
Right.
Your human experience is aligned, and you're just walking in that. And it feels it's an amazing feeling.
That's good. That's good. I like that. That's good.
Well, thank you.
So when was the last time you were triggered where it just bothered you? Or it didn't. Well, actually, it could either bother you or it did not bother you. It used to be a trigger, but when the situation happened, it did not bother you because you already tackled that
Hypocrisy triggers me.
Okay.
When there's hypocrisy, it triggers me. And not to get political on your podcast on the first episode.
Oh, no, you can. You can.
But being a trans woman, I get triggered a lot.
Okay.
Because, and this is a surface one. And I have conversations out loud with the universe all the time. Mm-hmm. And because people were very quick to tell you, because you're trans, well, you're not a woman because you're not biological. You're not real because you're not biological. Mm-hmm. And they can wrap their minds around that very easily to tell me that I am not a woman because biologically I was not born that way.
Okay.
So conversely, are we to tell surrogate people that have to use a surrogate because that lady did not biologically give birth to that baby, she's not a mother.
Right.
If you're adopted and this is your family, you're not really part of that family because you were not biologically born into it.
Correct.
You can wrap your mind around that. Oh, well, then that's not what we meant. Yes, it is. So because we're going to talk biologically, let's talk biologically. Mm. But you can wrap your mind and say, well, you're still a mother just because you didn't give birth. Well, no, you said biological matters. Does it or
That's
does it?
true.
Does
Right.
it or doesn't it? When your bigotry is introduced, you can very easily assuage the ways you feel to suit your purpose. No, you're not a woman because biologically you were not born that way. Mm-hmm. Okay, well then let's tell all the adopted families, let's tell all the surrogate mothers, all of these people that were
Right.
not biologically born into the families and into the things that's not what they are. And so if I'm not None of us are. Is that what
Right.
we're going to do?
Right.
Because if you can understand that, you can understand me as well.
Right.
So, but you don't want to understand me because you're a bigot. So, bigotry and hypocrisy, that's a huge trigger for me.
Right. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. And, we have these conversations as friends, but a lot of people don't understand that. Like with me being adopted, and I was adopted into a whole family of 24 of us, and I was only adopted with one person, which is my sister.
Right.
And we have siblings because we only have the same mother, and she just did her DNA ancestry, and it shows like our DNA is only 24%.
Oh, wow.
But it's imagine like we have the same mother, and so a lot of people don't. But people would say, "Oh, that's still your sister. That's still your sister." Well, but I say, "Well, okay, well, that's my half sister because technically she is my half sister. If we go with the DNA,
right?
perspective,
But you don't call it like, "Hey, this is my half sister."
Yeah, like this is my half sister.
No, you should say, "This is my sister."
Yeah, this is my half.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. So I do understand that.
That's where that
because I would never say this is my half sister. We only got the same mama.
Exactly.
Yeah, like we would have got the
and
same
even if
mama.
y'all didn't even have the same anything, you grew up with that person as your sister. That's your sister.
Yeah.
So, and I asked people like, okay, so your mother gets to be 50-something years old, she dies, and then you find out, oh my God, I was adopted. I never knew she wasn't my real mother.
Right.
So is she suddenly all of those 50 years that she has cared for you all of her life, that's just thrown out the window? She's not really your mother because biologically you weren't born out of her?
Yeah.
No,
Right.
you're still going to say that's my mama. You're still
Exactly.
going to say that, and you won't cut anybody that's going to say anything.
That's right.
That's still your mama. So stop
Right.
saying biology is what matters. Stop
It's
saying
really
that.
not. It's really
you're
what-
hiding behind
yeah.
bigotry. That's
Exactly.
you're hiding your bigotry behind that. Stop doing that. And I hate that people are letting that happen.
Mm-hmm.
That just drives me crazy. But that's more of a pet peeve to me. Though. It's like
That's a trigger
'Cause
because you be going in on it.
because I know they're lying.
So that is definitely a trigger.
Because I know they can see that.
Yeah, but people
And
don't.
you can easily apply that, but when it comes to, but because you think of trans as being gay, and as I've already had the conversation,
It's
before,
not.
When you think of trans as being gay, which
not
it
the
is
same
not,
thing. No.
you immediately like, oh, well, them, and you start going into your bigotry mode. It's like, no, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I totally feel where you're coming from because that's all the exact same thing.
Yes,
Like I would never say, "Oh, she only my half sister," because we 24, and I didn't even realize that. I didn't even know that we were like 20,
your whole life, you
right?
know this person.
Right.
Well, the biology says
We
so you are now
24%.
half. So you are now half my sister.
Right.
Girl, she gonna punch you in the face.
Right.
And I know your sister.
Yeah, that would be a big problem. Yeah.
But that's it. But it applies to everything. If we're going to apply it to one, you have to apply it to all.
I
And
am
that's the
like that
problem.
too.
People don't want to apply it to all.
Yeah.
And that is a trigger that bothers me. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I do not like
I can
that.
understand that. And people, and I'm smiling because people are quick to say, I'm for people, but you're not. When you do that or you say stuff like that, you're not for everyone.
I maintain that 90% of people walking the face of this earth are bigots and don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love
That's a high
Sure is.
percentage though. Wait.
It is.
And
And I include myself in that. I have my bigotry against certain things. And I'm like, and I will call myself out. I was like, that was very bigoted of me. I will catch myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be a bigot. Just catch yourself and correct it. Don't just
Right.
walk and bask in your bigotry because that's ignorance.
True.
But you have to, and this goes with knowing your triggers. Don't just, well, I'm triggered. Well, here it comes. I'm going to be triggered. If
Right.
you know that it's your job and your duty to do something about that. Don't just
Exactly.
continue to be triggered. Do the work and get past that. And the same thing is with bigotry. And it's nobody's fault that they're bigotry. That's the way
Right.
that, because we all fall into these cul-de-sacs of groups and people, and the group thinking becomes a thing.
It
and
is.
it's up to you to unlearn that.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's how that happened. That's where prejudices has come from.
Right.
And bigotry is like, sometimes it's just environmental, and you can outgrow that.
Yes. When I started my
So
healing,
that's a trigger.
yes, that is. When I started my healing journey 2 years ago, I kept saying to myself a lot of things that I thought was right was not right because of where I come from or because what I was taught or because what was instilled in me. And so when I made the decision to fully heal, I told myself like, okay, there's a lot that you have to learn and there's a lot that you have to unlearn.
But
And-
you've done so much work. I've
Thank
watched
you.
you over the last, no, for real,
Yes.
over the last, because we've been hanging out, especially since the pandemic, like a lot more.
Yes.
But it's like I have seen you become literally a whole different person. I have
Yeah.
watched you become the caterpillar, become the butterfly. I have literally watched you do that
Yeah.
and blossom and bloom into this person that is just on this quest for more knowledge, more understanding, more healing. And it's really, as a person that really truly loves and cares about you, it is really a beautiful thing to see.
Thank
And it makes
you.
me very
I
happy.
appreciate
and
that.
the way I know that you're healing is because we hardly ever talk anymore. But, and when you have that kind of relationship with someone, you don't have to hover over it. You don't have to fester over it. You don't have to like, hey, what you doing today? Just hey. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
When it's real and it's deep and it's unbreakable, you don't have to do that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's taken a lot of work, but even with that, I had to choose me. And you know me for a long time, for years. And so, I chose everyone else, or I cared about how everybody else felt and all the other type of stuff. So to just say, you know what, I'm going to choose myself. I'm going to work on myself. But unlearning some of these, I think learning, I'm always down to learn something new. But unlearning habits, that was the most hardest for me. Like unlearning. Like I'm like, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for years. I can't get over this. Like, but unlearn, like this is not healthy for you. I'm gonna keep it real.
When you start when you have a quest to learn and to know something, no matter, I don't care if you've been drinking or not, you're trying to understand it, and it's always been so fun and crazy to watch because you get that look on your face like you're trying to figure. It's like you're actually trying to see it and you're like, huh? It's just so funny.
Right. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna mention something real quick. Do you remember that time we was eating lunch?
Something bad.
That time we was eating lunch, and
Where were we?
we were at Fuzz Inn.
Okay.
We were at Fuzz Inn, and we were eating lunch, and I was like, well, I can't get into the logistics of it, but I was just like, well, it's this and it's that and it's this and that. And you said, well, why? You know what I'm talking about?
No. Okay. I got to get into logistics. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so remember I was telling you I was dealing with several different people at one time.
Okay.
And then remember I told you the graphics of behind, you know what
Yes,
I'm talking
okay,
about?
I do.
And I was like, well, it's just not this and it's just not that.
Oh,
And you was just like, but why?
Yes, I do
remember that?
Yes. Okay, we're bringing that up on the podcast.
Yes,
Okay.
we are. Yes, but
We're not going into details.
yeah, we're not going into details. But she was like, well, why would you even do that? I was like,
Yeah.
well, and then you was like, well, no, you need to make room. You know what I'm talking about now? Okay. Yeah. And so I really had to think about that because that was like a normal thing if you notice. Because I remember our conversation. I was
At
like,
the
well,
time.
At the time, yeah. I was just like, well, what's wrong with that? And this and that. And you were like, well, you were just like, no. Well, how you gonna make room for anything else good to come if you're gonna be doing all this other type of stuff?
That used to bug me. and because I one of my spiritual gifts is the gift of sight, and
Right.
so I could see this you then, and so I kept seeing that you in the way of this you. So I'm like,
Yeah, it
girl, no, what did you
It was totally
the
different.
universe cannot bring you this if you got these placeholders in the way.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yes.
And it was
Yes,
that
it
was 3 years
was.
ago. But even with that,
But do you look back on that person now and see this person and go like, girl, do you think about that? Because it is night and day.
it's very much night and day. It's
Yeah.
very
So do
much
you
night and
look back-
day.
Yeah.
Um,
You have to at some time.
I sometimes look at myself like, what was you doing? Why would you even accept a lot of stuff like that? Like what?
I think I know when, but
Like, oh, I think
Yes.
that's. I can I get into my trigger? The last time when I was triggered, but okay, this is a triumph though. This is a
oh,
this.
we're gonna change it up from triggers to triumph. That's what this
Yes.
is about. Come
So-
on now, message.
I see this particular person.
Triggers to triumphs. I like that.
Yes, I see this particular.
We'll call him Steve.
because you know that you have to when you know your triggers, you have to work on them if you want to
Yes,
do the work.
I 100% believe
So
that. Yes.
I did the work with that particular situation.
My trigger is not your responsibility,
Correct.
and vice versa.
Right. So I'm gonna let you be and go do what you need to
Yeah.
go do. So 2 weeks ago,
You saw
I-
Steve.
I saw Steve, and of course, the backstory behind me and Steve and all that, and a trigger for me was seeing Steve because it was just like okay, because it got bad.
I remember.
Yeah, the situation got bad, and so every time I saw Steve, I would always feel something because Steve act like that they didn't know me. Again, go back to
Back
what
to
I
the
was what I was
original,
saying.
yes.
Like you act like that you don't know me. You act like I
And
did.
we went through hell in that short period of time.
right,
And you know
remember
yeah.
I told you I didn't even realize it was that much time, but it had came
I
to
kept telling
to
you.
the other year, and I was like, oh my god, that was it. I didn't even realize
Yeah.
it. And I was with Steve a lot. Like me and Steve
Yes.
was together.
Oh, I
like,
remember. Together but not together, yeah.
Yeah, like we were together, like as far as every other day hanging out, like hanging out, and so a trigger for me is when I would see Steve out and about, and Steve ignored me. Steve
Like
act
nothing
like
ever
I
happened.
did something. Steve actually sent me this long message saying you are the reason why I'm
wow.
XYZ. Boom, boom, boom. And so I was like,
wow.
okay. So when I started my healing journey and stuff like that, I was just like, okay, I'm not going to allow myself to be triggered by him. I seen him one time prior to 2 weeks ago. And when I seen him, he spoke to me and I spoke back. So it was very much like, hey, hey.
Hi and bye.
Yes. So when I see Steve 2 weeks ago, it was a hey, can we talk type of situation. So I'm like,
Lord.
okay, hey, what's up? And so it went back to that 2 years ago, Steve, to
Ooh.
went back to that where I just
All that
feel
flooded back,
yeah,
yeah.
I just feel like this and that. I just feel like all of this, and I know I really care about you. I really have love for you. Da 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 da. So I was like, okay, right? I was like, okay, and I was like, how you doing? I handled it so well. Like I shut down every single thing.
So
while-
that was no longer a
it was
trigger.
no longer a trigger because this is who you are. I cannot continue to go back there because I'm not there in any
Yeah.
capacity. I'm not going to go back there, but I actually triumph over that trigger because again, when I saw that person after that, and that person act like they didn't know me, that person still thinks in his head that I did something to him, or
And that's okay.
or I left him or left the situation. I did,
And that's,
right? I
but,
did.
but again, that's okay that you
Right.
think that because your feelings are not my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
That's your luggage.
Correct.
You can pack it or unpack it. That's up to you. It's your luggage.
Right. So it was good. It was like, okay. And I really applauded myself that night. And
How did that feel?
It felt amazing. And I had a friend there with me that knows Steve. And my friend was just like, yeah, Isaac, like, yeah.
wow.
It was totally different because you're not going to get that version of me because that
No
version of me
longer
is
exists.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to you because you're always going to be the version of you.
Wow.
If that makes
That's-
sense.
no, it does.
I'm
No,
like,
it
you
does.
always going to be
That's
that version of
understandable.
you.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to, no. I'm not going to give you that energy. You give that to somebody
You know,
else.
they call those karmic relationships when someone comes into your life and you're supposed to learn something from that.
Yes, and I felt so good, and that's why I said like this was a trigger for me, but I triumph over it because it's no longer a trigger. It's no longer moving me, and I'm still able to speak to you and say, "Hey, are you doing good?
And want the best
You
for them.
And want the best for you because when I
Yes.
rock with someone, goes back to
Well,
what
I
I
think
said.
that's why that got so
earlier.
murky and so muddy is because you also not just were involved romantically.
Romantically,
That was
yeah.
your friend.
That was my friend.
And I always tell people, dating, if in the end, you should always want to be with somebody that's your friend because you know how you fight with your friends and y'all can get mad, but you ain't gonna never stop being friends with that person.
Right.
And imagine if you have a relationship like that.
Right.
And I read it somewhere once that the best relationship is a friendship that's just been set on fire.
Oh, I like that. That's deep.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said, and that's why with the person I'm talking to now, one of the things when we talked, I was like, I want us to remain friends after
Yes.
this because I've had so many situations to where we lost a friendship. It got so bad that we're not even friends.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to be like that towards you, especially if I really rock with you and I care about you. Like I have friends or certain family members that I don't talk to, but I don't wish nothing bad on you, or I don't
Right.
feel no type of way towards you. If I wanted the best for you then, I want the best for you now.
That's cool.
Just
That's cool and that's growth. Yeah.
yeah. So that was good. I patted myself on the back.
That's what you should. I was there for all of Steve, so that's good.
Oh yeah, you know that got
But it's a new day. We're new people. You're
Right.
new people. So
So how have you identified your triggers?
just based on the definition, it's like when I have that. It's like well, it used to be. I don't. It's just like this deep emotional feeling in my chest that I just feel it. It just comes all over me, and I stop in my tracks. A trigger for me will stop me in my tracks, and I will have to just deal with it right then.
Okay.
That's how I have come to identify. Like, okay, I'm triggered, and then I've had to say to myself, okay, I'm triggered, and allow myself to be triggered, and know that I'm triggered, and talk through it. And yes, talk even when I'm at home by myself, me and my dog. I talk through it.
Come on, Callie.
Because I enjoy
Come
my
on,
own
Callie.
company. I love talking to others, so why wouldn't? Others love talking to me, so why wouldn't I want to talk to me? So I talk to myself all the time, and I will talk myself through it. I will sit there and have a whole conversation by myself
Okay.
and talk myself through it.
I like that. And you have Callie to talk to too.
Yes, she's.
A character.
Yes, she. They say your dogs or your pets take on your personality. She definitely has my personality.
And you be yelling at her.
Oh, she yells back.
Right.
When she starts doing that, I can't even stay mad at whatever I was talking about because I'll just bust out laughing. She just gets going. It's the cutest thing.
Yeah, Callie is cute. But
She's 11 this year. Oh my God.
yes. Come on,
I
11.
know, right?
So how I've learned to deal with my triggers is I've learned to be aware of the emotion I was experiencing at that time.
Okay.
To like process my five senses. Why do I feel like that? What do I see? What do I smell? I've learned to do that and actually process how I feel. And remember, you used to always tell me, if that's your emotion, feel that, go through that.
Yes.
Because I would not want to show emotion, and then when I do, I'm crying.
That's good too,
I'm
though.
crying because I didn't want to process like what was going on, and I didn't want to feel that emotion.
So therefore,
that
it was
I
going to
felt.
still always be there.
It was still always going to be
Yeah.
there. So I was like, okay, Isaac, why do you feel this? What do you smell? What do you see? What do you think? Isaac, what is it that you're experiencing right now? So that's how I've learned to control that. That's how I
cool.
learned. Yeah, that's how I learned how to control.
And I think that's the same thing to a degree. It's just saying it out loud and having a conversation about it, even with just myself. Now, sometimes I'll call coffee.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, girl, I'm going to post something. If something has triggered me too bad, I'm like, girl, I'm going to post something. These girls have made me sick today. And she will talk me down off the ledge. But if
Okay.
she doesn't answer the phone.
You always get that good friend to talk people down.
You have to have that
I'm
one.
that friend, actually, for a lot of people. I
You
talk
have to
people
have that
down.
You have to have that friend
Yes.
that's going to bring you off that
And I have that
ledge.
friend that does that for me,
But
too.
you have to also be that friend for yourself. And that's what's like, if she's not
Yes.
available, I will just get in the mirror or just start talking out loud and bring myself back down. And it's like, if you post that, what's it going to change? If you react this way, what's it going to change? Nothing. Just okay. And then go out into nature, talk to a tree, and it'll be all
Come
right.
on, talk to a tree.
You should talk to trees.
Like Pocahontas.
I don't know.
Like Pocahontas.
I've never seen Pocahontas.
Okay.
I just know spiritually trees are very wise.
I've heard that too. I've actually had an ex coworker that we used to work together. That's going to be my ex coworker. She said that she will go by trees and lay on the
Yes,
grass.
you should.
And I'm like, girl, you got curly hair. Like you lay on the grass. But she said she
I'm
wouldn't
telling you,
even
there's no
put
feeling
down a
like it.
blanket or nothing. She'll just lay it. Just
There is no feeling like being, and the trees at my house are so beautiful. Like today, and I talk to them like, good morning, trees. Good morning, ladies. How are y'all? I talk to the trees.
do they talk back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You need to watch Pocahontas.
Well,
It's on Disney Plus. I'll give you my password.
I have my own.
Okay, you said I'll give you my password.
I have
She
my
does
own,
that.
but
It's
thank
very
you.
spiritual though.
But no,
It's very spiritual.
and like sometimes I walk, when Callie and I go out, and if the trees have told me the right thing, I would just sit down because we have a bench right out there by ours. I said, Callie, we're gonna sit down for a while, and I would just sit out there until I'm done feeling whatever the universe wants me to feel, and then we go in the house.
That's good.
Yeah, it's like it's it's about not being in a hurry to go somewhere and not in a hurry to do something. Because I used to be like, well, I'm going to the gym and going to the store and come back home. So that's all I can do. I cannot venture off the path. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
But I've gotten away from that. I'm like, let me just enjoy my day. If I want to go for a stroll, I can walk through and get to that eventually. I don't have to be in such a rush to go boom, boom, boom back home. Because it's like, I'm back home, I'm safe.
Right.
It was very that, like, time.
And all your stuff is right there.
It is.
Yeah, it's like literally like right there. So that it makes sense
So
why you would be
take
in.
your time.
Yeah, it makes sense why you would be in routine.
Yeah, so, but I just want to enjoy life.
Yes.
So that's where
It
I'm at.
is. Yes. I said each month I'm going to
And
do.
being open to whatever the universe is trying to tell me.
Yes.
Tell me or take me.
Out of Houston.
Hey, if
Is it out of Houston?
that's what
You don't want the
going.
people to know that.
I ain't told nobody. Edit that out.
Oh yeah, please. Oh wait, I didn't need to tell nobody.
See, it's good when you forget that the cameras are there.
I'm sorry. Edit that out.
I said, yes, I am open to moving.
Yes, I like that for you.
I'm open to the universe, whatever the universe has for me, be it a man, a job, whatever.
I like that for you, and that's why.
I've been single too long. I'm ready to get settled down.
Okay, come on, single. So are you dating?
I'm open to dating.
Are you
I'm on a dating app,
Okay.
and it's a black dating app.
Okay. Do you want to tell the people where they can find you?
No,
Okay. I'm sorry.
no, I do not.
I know you was gonna say that.
They will find me.
They will follow the social media tag.
They will find. They don't. If you follow me on there trying to get a date, it ain't gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen. You ain't gonna read it.
That's for work. You want to
You're
book a girl to do
not.
a show? That's.
Are you
do
talking?
that.
See how you respond for what? He's messaged you.
Oh my God! Facebook. Well, you the one that set me up on that Facebook,
Facebook dating.
man.
I'm successful on
I have
Facebook
deleted.
dating.
I'm not, and I deleted it.
I've made friends off of Facebook
You saw all
dating.
them old crows I was getting, so I deleted it.
Facebook dating, and that is a thing, y'all. Facebook dating.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm exclusively dating someone, so I'm
Well,
not.
congratulations.
I'm not really worried about.
I'm very happy
Facebook,
for you.
Dating. I guess I'll just do that out like to
I'm triggered.
thousands of people.
This conversation about
Sorry.
dating has triggered
I'm
me.
sorry. And we just went off. I'm sorry.
You did on a tangent. That's called a tangent, and you went off on one.
So why? So I chose triggers as one of my topics. I actually wanted to be the first topics because I feel like in my healing journey, that was one of the main things I needed to work on was those triggers, because I feel like a lot of my triggers, obviously earlier, like what I said, comes from other people triggering me. So I had to take control of like my emotions and stuff like that. But I feel that we all have triggers, and if you identify them, you are able to gain an understanding
Yes, I agree.
of why you feel the way that you do.
Agreed.
You get what I'm saying? Like, this is why I feel how I feel.
A
And
deeper
the-
understanding of yourself.
Yeah. And the more we use avoidance to cope with our triggers, people out there, everybody out there, the more our pain goes unhealed and the more our sensitivity grows. So I really just hope that our conversation, I'm sorry, we're friends, so it goes everywhere else, but we talked a lot about triggers and stuff like that. I just hope that, the people out there can just identify their triggers and work on their triggers. A big thing for me, I put on a notepad, I put a little sticky note on my mirror, and I tell myself, I am this, I am that. Like, I use my brand like a lot in my personal life. And so that also helped me with triggers as well, because if I know that this person triggered me or this situation triggered me, I can tell myself, no, I am this, I am that. So I hope y'all did get.
Now, is there a comment section for this podcast?
Yes, well, YouTube, because this will be on YouTube.
Okay, well, I think you should encourage people to put some of their techniques for dealing with their triggers in the comments.
Yes, please comment. And I'm probably going to post on Facebook. What are some of your triggers, or what are some things that help you cope with your triggers? I would love to hear that. And we can have a conversation more about triggers. But yes, please comment, like, post, subscribe.
Become a part of the healing community.
Please come a part of my community.
The healing community.
The healing community. Well, I am healing. I'm forever. And I said this. I said I always want to heal. I don't feel like that we're ever all the way healed. That's just my opinion, but that's a conversation we can have later. But I feel like that even if you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, I feel like there's always
80s.
room. Yeah, there's always room to grow. There's always room to be a better self. So I'm just working on being a better
If
me.
I get to 80, I ain't doing that now. It's gonna be what it's gonna be.
If I
at
get
80.
to 80, baby, I'm about to just.
It's gonna be what it's gonna be. If it ain't healed, you just have to deal with it.
I wonder if I'm still gonna be
And I'm
drinking
sure I say
Crown
when
Royal.
I get to 80.
Would
not
you be
if.
drinking at the age of 80? I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I'm up here trying to wrap up. You said absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's what I just said. Like, am I going to be drinking Crown Royal at 80?
I'm still gonna be mean.
Okay. To be
You have to realize
continued.
that's only 25 years from now for me.
Right.
Oh no, that's 35 years from now.
But I can see you
30 years from now.
I can see you with a
Lord,
husband.
I'm
Wait, no, that's a conversation we should have by ourselves. Okay, anyways.
Yes, I'm talking about no husbands.
Right. So please, thank you for my co-host. Thank you, the Spears
Thank you for having me.
Spear Production Podcast in
Spear,
Houston.
as in like stab. That kind of spear.
Yes, and thank you. This podcast is on all social media: Anchor Podcast, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Facebook. Please like, please subscribe, please follow her,
Please
follow,
share.
please share, please follow me, and I hope that you liked our little chit chat today. So my name is Isaac George, and thank you for tuning into my first episode.
Thank you for having me. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good